Ladies and gentlemen, you are going to hear us live. We've got 3 people this time. There's things blowing a hoolie down in England and Scotland. So we're just waiting for all the tech to catch up, and then we're going to introduce. I was going to say we have a threesome. I've said it. I shouldn't have said it. But we do. We have a threesome to start the Monday morning. And I'm going to bring them beautiful faces live on screen. And here we are, the wonderful Bev and Kate. So good morning, everybody. We are all started. And as always, what I do is I introduce my beautiful humans. That sounds very like I own you. But I did it a little bit differently this time. I thought, what words would really sum up these girls? And I decided to pull some cards, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And so I did a little shuffle, and I came up with patient, which is really interesting because I've said you're patient about 1 million times over the last little while. Transparent and compassionate. And you know what? I think they do sum up these guys really, really well. Bev and Kate are from Clear. They are my clear thinkers, and they are a partnership. And you know, I've worked with so many consultants and so many different businesses of people that have kind of merged together. And I don't know about what these guys do, but they just do it really freaking well. And it's just delightful how they work together. They always say they're interchangeable. It's a bog off, buy one get one free when you get these guys. They refused to go with the moniker Kev. When I started working with them, they were like, that is a no Kirsty, that is not happening. But there's something delightful about how they do it. And I think I've been lucky enough, I've worked with the guys more during lockdown. And we've done sort of different projects together beforehand, but I've been invited into their spaces. And I've been on spring break with them, which we'll talk about, and also playgroup. There's something really clever about them. They can hold a space for people, even in a virtual sense. They kind of, I don't know what they do, honestly. I'm going to find out. If I need to find out, that's why I brought them on. But they just seem to like hold and just kind of hug the space, and they allow people to think, they allow people to question, they allow people to play, and there's nothing better than watching these guys think. I actually 100% see them thinking on every single call that I'm in. Their eyes are going all over the place. And so there was absolutely no way that I couldn't bring them onto LinkedIn Live. So ladies and gentlemen, obviously in your homes right now, give her a round of applause to Kate and Beth. Hi.
Hi, thank you, Kirsty.
So welcome to the LinkedIn Live. As always, I'll be kind of checking like who's here. So if I go off and I'm not looking at you directly, the first we're going to talk about these cards. Do you like the plug? And the first question I always ask people is this: what are your 3 feelings for today and for this week? And I'm going to go to you first, Kate.
Okay, so my feelings for today and this week. So I was thinking actually about my feelings that have occurred over the weekend and that I'm going to take forward into this week. And my first one is connected. It's felt a really connected weekend. Actually, the whole of lockdown has felt really connected for me. I've got to know so many more people during lockdown. It's been insanely amazing. So yeah, that sense of connection, whole bunch of family connection always happens at the weekend, but really looking forward as ever to doing a whole bunch of connecting with a real variety of people, which has been just fabulous, just from a creative point of view and just getting to know different people in their different boats. So that's been really good, because I feel like the whole situation has been same storm, different boats.
Yeah.
Everybody in a different boat. And because loads of people have said to me, we're all in it together, we're all in the same boat. And actually we're not in the same boat at all. But it's so good to hear about everybody's little boats and how they're getting on, because I've learned so much, we've learned so much about that. So for fear of just me talking for half an hour, I'll go on to my next word. The next one is blessed, just really thankful for everything, really thankful for my family, the partnership I have with Bev, which Yes, it could be Kev. It could be bait as well. That's even worse, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So we
Okay,
really
people,
never go down.
let's
Never
put
go
it
down
for
that
a
one.
vote, people. I need to know if you want Kev or bait by the end of this. Chris Hallam, you're on here. I need to know your views.
Oh, blimey, that's a teaser, isn't it? So yeah, so we've worked together for 13 years, and that, you know, it's been a delight. But actually, it's been almost even better in these last. It's really been kind of magnified these last 3 months of just what can we do, and there's been so many different things we've had to play with. It's been awesome and connected, like you say, with lots of really good people. And then finally, so this links a little bit back to Saturday for me. Accomplished is my third feeling. Now, I say accomplished because I managed to clean the kitchen floor for the first time in 3 months. Oh my goodness me. It's been there, loitering at the bottom of my to-do list, on my mind, just being that little bit in my ear. I did it. I did it. So I'm feeling so accomplished. And do you know what I mean? If that's the bar, this week is going to be awesome, yeah?
Rocking. I love it. And so
that's me.
Over to Bev. What are your three feelings, your three words, Bev?
I'm choking on my coffee. So I too went down the cards route. So I have serene.
Oh.
So I'm feeling at ease and easeful going into this week. At least that's how I felt last night. I'm not sure I feel that now. I am feeling very playful. Playful because we're together now, but playful because it's playgroup today for our Cards for Clear Thinking, but also thoughtful because this morning is a chance for us to reflect on some of the things that we've done together and share some of that, but also it's Time to Think week for me. So I'm finishing off my workshops for my Time to Think coach program. So I'll need to be very thoughtful this week. So they're my three words.
Well, they're perfect, Paul. So I think we've teased people enough, right? So I've been part of playgroup. So, you know, tell people, still love the fact it's called playgroup. I'm not going to lie. And that's one of the things that you guys do really well. And I knew this before lockdown, but I think just going back to your point, Kate, I think it's just seemed to be magnified during this time that you guys, you love to play and you love to help other people play. So I'm going to direct questions to you both because I know this will be what we call in Scotland a rammy, when just like you're both like right, because you've just got so much to say, which I think is beautiful. So I'm going to direct this to Bev to start with. Just tell us about playgroup. We're throwing cards in people's faces. So tell us a little bit about playgroup.
Okay, so we decided that we would use. I don't know, Kate. I think Kate came up with the idea. I don't know. That's one of the things about being Kev or bait, don't know. But we wanted to give people an opportunity to play together, to play with the Cards for Clear Thinking. And so we decided to create an online space and a reason for people to come together and to run a bunch of experiments. So we've had the cards in our lives for, I don't know, probably about 6 or 7 years now. I was deleting some stuff in our Dropbox account this weekend and came across some things that we did probably 6 or 7 years ago. So they've been evolving over that time. And they're always part of our agenda in summer each year. So we do summer school, we down tools for a month and focus on the business. And the cards have always been part of that because we iterate each year and we do something slightly different with them. So this year, because of lockdown and because we brought all of our summer school forward into the spring, then doing playgroup was one of those things. And we have, Kate put out a message on LinkedIn and then a bunch of people said they'd like to play. And then that's what we've been doing for the last 5 weeks is getting people to experiment with the cards, come up with activities, share it with each other, connect with each other, actually, because a huge part of playgroup is the fact that we've created a little network and we were really careful about not making it too big. So it's small, neat and compact. It's bijou. And the fact that it's bijou means that people can have a proper conversation with somebody during the sessions, which we do through Zoom, and actually feel like they're part of something special. At least I hope that's what people feel like. What would you say, Kate?
Yeah, I totally agree. I was laughing to myself about the keeping it small because we really did think we'll have 8 people and we've got about 20. So we're really bad at actually following what we think. But it's been great because what we've been able to do is to have 2 different sessions as well of playgroups. So we've got a session this morning and we've got a session in the evening as well. And people dip into each one of them. So I think that the connection has been great in terms of just different people's experience of playing with each other, which is probably not something you should say on LinkedIn Live in the morning, but there we go, it's out there.
I've said threesome, so
that's fine. Well, there we go. There's a theme going on, Kirsty, I think. But I think one of the things that's really nice about it as well is we've had that online connection with people. We've seen people's faces. We've got to go into breakout rooms and have a play with different ideas, and not just our ideas, but other people's ideas as well. But there's been an element of sort of free play, so people just literally having the cards and using them for all sorts of different things. And that's one of the things that absolutely amazes me, because basically they're a card with a word and a nice picture, and we love the pictures because most of them we took ourselves, and then there's the dark side to the cards.
Yay, we like it.
But we've been totally fascinated in how many ways you can use them, which has been brilliant. And so playing with them and getting other people's brains to play with them too has just been awesome. And there's some structured stuff as well. So this weekend was an appreciation sort of challenge for people. So getting people to just use them in a real variety of ways has been good fun. And we've loved it so far. So it's been great.
It's been amazing to be part of, to see, as you say, the group of people coming together. And given I found it interesting because some people are just like, oh, I don't play that much. I'm like, oh okay. Just like, why not? And just giving people permission to play, which I think is really powerful. And I think the thing that I've observed from you guys, and not in a creepy sense, in a supportive sense, is that you guys are made for this time. Is my full thing. And I think because you seem to have created these spaces really well from a digital perspective. And Scott, Leaper and I were talking on Friday about how we've kind of transferred those horrible meetings that we had in a glass box, put them into a Teams call or a Zoom's call. And Zoom isn't just for meeting, it's like, how do you create a hangout? How do you create a space? And so what would you guys say about, given that we've got people here from, obviously we're on LinkedIn from a business perspective, what can we do to create these great spaces online?
Shall I say something?
Say something, Kate.
For fear of talking over each other. So I think one of the things that has really worked for us is we've not been scared to just have a go, and I guess the environment, the sort of atmosphere of the lockdown has made us throw everything into the air anyway and go, well, what's to lose? Let's just have a go with this. And so some people we know have been busily trying to translate in the room stuff onto online and do it in a really purist way that sort of says, well, we did that, so that goes there. But I guess we've tried to kind of go, well, how does it work? How do we make sure people have got a bit of stimulus? So what happens before the space online? What input can we give them to get their thinking kind of really percolating and bubbling before we get there? So something about that. How can we add some stuff but allow other people to be the kind of additions that make it special? So getting people in pairs or groups to kind of hang out together and have those conversations and bring back their freshest thinking to the group. So I think one of the things that Bev and I have always said is the wisdom's in the room. So we absolutely are not the oracle on the stage. We know random stuff, but we don't know it all. And we've never thought we know it all. And so it's been so lovely to see in those online spaces, people really bringing their experience to the fore. So just having that space for people to add their wisdom has been really helpful. Things we don't do well are try not to do too much.
Yeah,
we always do too much.
Yeah,
it's always a race to the wire. We're learning, aren't we, Bev? We're still learning. So just giving some ease and some space as well. Bev, what would you say?
And so I think making sure that when you're in an online space, that it's not a broadcast, that it is a conversation. And you can do that in a meeting. So many meetings that have gone online are someone who likes the sound of their own voice going blah blah blah, and it's got to be about connection, interaction. From a design point of view, I think what we've done is really thought about, if this was a physical box, if Zoom, for example, if it was a physical box, what's it like when you step into it? What do you want to create around you? And imagine what it's like for everybody in their own little boxes, because we're all coming from a room somewhere in the world, and if there's 20 people on a call, then those 20 people have all got a different place that they're coming from, and kind of imagining that and thinking what that might be like and describing it really well for people so that when they arrive they know what to expect, and then designing content that suits that environment. But I think it's that I feel myself stepping physically into it rather than just looking at a flat screen, and that's really helped us to visualize it, I think. And I think just being really, really human. So I think all three of us have said at some point, this has given us an opportunity to see through the window into people's lives, which is a huge privilege. It's not something that everyone is comfortable with, but we've seen more of people. We've seen not the facade that they bring to the workplace that they can carefully manage, but we're seeing naked husbands walking past in the shower, or dogs or children or cats' bums. It's all been going on. Cats flicking their tails past the screen. So we've seen all of that human stuff. And that is one of the things that I think makes people feel more connected. And I think every session Kate and I have gone into, we've reassured ourselves by going, you know what? People are okay if you make a mistake in this environment, because everyone started learning at the same time. I know there's a bunch of people out there who are really expert at this, but for the majority, everyone stepped into the online space at the same time and was feeling around. And so there's no need to worry, I don't think, about getting it wrong. It's just do it. Do something, and then be quick-witted enough to fix it if it goes wrong in the moment. So I think that's some of the things that have stood out for me.
And people are more forgiving just now, aren't they? They're definitely more forgiving. And I think I mentioned this on Friday, that I was listening to Stephen Kotler talking, and he said they have to have special dispensation to have a meeting of more than 3 people. Because it is just a meeting, and they call it, because if not, it just becomes, like you say, an ego parade. So it's just, and it sometimes you feel like you're just listening in someone else's one-to-one, and you're just like, should I be here? Is this like, and that has transferred from the world from before. And so Vicky Armstrong's here, so she was saying that you have been fun people to work with from the very, very start. So says both of you are amazing. I would say those 2 ladies are amazing. And Vicky, I agree. I think they're all around great humans as well. And Ricky's here doing a little bit of magic, and Joanne's here talking beautiful in that accent. So they say hi. So I think that's the thing. There's a lot of people from an L&D perspective that tune into this, and our network is like that. What would you say? I mean, there's going to be some of those elements that you've just said that would be absolutely right for anything from a learning perspective. What do you see about the future of learning development? What sort of tips, what sort of thoughts do you have about it? I'll go Bev first.
Gosh, I think it kind of makes geography history, and I think it makes it has the potential to make learning really exciting, so long as people. So I remember, and I never really liked, LMS systems where it's all flat and you tick a box. And did you get 10 out of 10? Did you get 80%? Go back. Yeah.
Never.
It's really dull and lifeless. And like, this is just so human. So this has to be part of our future. I think this is a really connected space. So I know early on in the experience, I bumped into various groups and people who said, I just don't feel very connected. I feel connected in a room. And I'm like, no, I feel connected here as well. It's different. But actually, because I think the connection comes from me anyway, I am oozing the connection. So I'm going to feel it because I'm making it. And if everyone goes into that space feeling connected and bringing their own bit of connection, then that's going to make the learning experience really, really strong for everybody. So I think thinking about it as I guess not so much a medium for absorbing information, which I think the kind of flat screen LMS stuff probably is, but more a medium for connecting with other human beings and sharing wisdom, like Kate was saying, and having fresh thinking. And I've seen it work brilliantly. I've seen people move from being skeptics to being total advocates and just loving being in the space because it's so rich and there's so much warmth. And actually, it's less exposing as well in a good way. So for people who feel uncomfortable in the room physically, they say, many of them have said to us, we just feel so much more at ease to be able to say what we think because you're just seeing this bit of me. So in terms of reaching an audience in an organization, I think that's super for hearing people's voices and hearing people's opinions. So I think using it in that way a little bit, thinking more of it as a delivery mechanism, not as a delivery mechanism, but more as a way to engage. Kate, what would you add?
So the thing that it makes me really think about is, because life is going to be so different, the kind of next normal is different to the previous normal, and there's going to be many iterations of whatever normal might feel like or be. That our experience as leaders of people and people who work with people has been that kind of in a room experience up until now. And then suddenly our experience is different and everybody's experience is different. So there's such an opportunity to learn from each other now, because none of us have got it sussed, because we only know our little bit of it. So I know my boat, but I don't know your boats. I might come and visit your boat at some point. Who knows? I may be allowed one day. But I do think that opportunity for people to be together at ease in a space that is conducive to listening and to just being really curious about other people is going to be hugely essential, because we don't really know what the future is going to be like. Then that opportunity to be curious with each other and get to understand little snippets and bits from others is hugely important. And I think it's going to be the way, it's been in the past, you've probably had something on a shelf that said, this is how you do it. That all out the window, shelf's gone, fallen down. It's totally, all new, and there's a massive, it makes me really excited actually, there's a massive opportunity for people to learn off each other. So I think that space for people to be able to have confidence that their thoughts and their wisdom are equally important to everybody else's. So I guess to your point, Bev, around not being a broadcast, but absolutely being that collaboration and that community of learners together in a space that feels conducive is really where I feel like it's going.
So you said you're excited. I'm looking at all these comments, right? And I think, do you know what's really interesting in terms of just seeing what's coming through is a testament to you guys. It's a freaking love fest on here right now. Honestly. Hi guys, love you guys. Vicky, you're right, they're amazing. This is the perfect way to start a Monday. Sally Ann, you're right. Great quote, makes geography history and the wisdom is in the room. High five, Sally. I agree. Sally Ann, sorry. And Shona saying about all sounds intriguing, love exploring new things and feels we've got the perfect playground at the moment, which is so true. That's what you guys have done. You created a playground. You've kind of got in amongst it, and a lot of people are mentioning spring break, and what I loved about spring break was we started with a snail farmer, and within the whole myriad of conversations, we had magicians, we had someone that just went yes to everyone, we had photographers who've been with the royals, it was just. And you know what was brilliant was every Thursday, everyone would rock up like, here we go. Like, what's going to happen today? And I think, and I love that, because you said you used to have summer school and then you decided to do the spring break. What did you guys love about spring break? Because you created something for all of us and got loads of people talking. What did you guys love about it?
Is it my turn to start?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
So we just loved it, that it got so many brilliant people together and formed a life of its own, because originally the kind of inception point was me and Bev and Matt, our lovely friend Matt, just going, what should we do that entertains and delights us for the next wee while? So it was a very sort of, I guess, a selfish start point. And then we said, we know loads of good people. We are definitely collectors of great people. And so why wouldn't we get those lovely people together to share some amazing insight that, like you say, we started with the lovely Lynn and her snail farm. And when I was explaining it to some of my family, they were like, not quite sure how that all ties together. But in our head, it did. And it absolutely did, didn't it? So it was that whole, let's have a play. It's for us. Let's invite some gorgeous people to it. And it sort of just developed a life of its own, which is perfect playing, isn't it? Start with something and see where it goes. What else, Beth?
So I think
I'm loving the looks to the side.
So thanks, Kate. I have loved the fact that it had an unexpected impact on people.
Yeah.
So, like you say, Kate, we did it for selfish reasons because it's something we always do, and then we bring people into it. Last year, there was half a dozen of us sat around our kitchen table doing some stuff around the thinking environment. So we were able to go bigger, which is the first thing that this has allowed us to do, because no one had to drive to my house. But I think just what people got from each of those speakers, what they got from each other, from being virtually in a space with a bunch of other people and getting a real sense that they'd be okay. Because when we started, things were very tumultuous. There's lots and lots of turmoil. And obviously things got a bit more stable, and now we're going through a bit of more turmoil again, but spring break has paused for now until the autumn. But it was just that sense that people got that they could come somewhere, they'd be okay. It was safe. There was that psychological safety that we talk about in organizations. People went, I'm okay here. These are my people. These are okay. And people got huge insights about themselves and huge insights from just listening to other people speak. So I was really struck by how people would listen to Lynn, listen to Lynn or to Ricky. Or to Anthony, or to you, Kirsty, and they just made that leap from, I can take that and apply that to my circumstances. And that's proper learning. That's not spoon feeding. That's just, I'm having an insight because I listened to that, and that person's story means something to me. So it really made me realize the importance of listening and how much we love as human beings to listen. So it was like sitting around a campfire and probably having a good old listen to someone's story, and you couldn't interrupt for 20 minutes because I didn't allow it. I put everyone on mute for those 20 minutes. And so how lovely to actually have that amount of attention and to give that amount of attention. And the fact that we always included appreciation at the start and the end really makes us grateful for being there. And I think it's the combination of things that have made it great. And it was bittersweet to actually pause it. So we did pause it after our 9th session, and which was you, of course. We did pause it at that point, but we know it was so good. It was so much fun, and we want to do it again. So we'll bring it back in the autumn. We'll find a way to make it work.
You caused me to write a book. That was your fault. It was you guys. You made me write a book. You spring breakers, and the Fuglies as well, which is something else. Ruth's been playing with your cards. She's really enjoying exploring your cards, and the curiosity and playfulness. And I think what was, we've talked a lot about play, but every time you talk about play, I don't know if anyone's kind of totting up the amount of times these guys say it, but you say think so much. And you're deeply passionate and deeply committed, I feel, to helping people think. And I know that you were talking about you're doing your thinking partnership, and how do you do it? How do you help people think? Because I think there's some people that are doing, and I always do that because over there is like the city. So I'm just like, they're in these offices, but no one's actually in an office. But how do you help people think? I think you're beautiful about your bookends of the appreciation really helps that as well. How do you do it? Tell me, what's your top tips? Bev.
So ask someone a question and then shut up. That's a really good start. That's not feedback at all.
All right.
but so often we ask a question and we don't really care enough about the answer, and so we just ask the question in order to create an opportunity or the courtesy for someone to say what they think, so that we can get ready to say what we think. And that's that ego parade thing that you mentioned earlier, Kirsty. So I think we get people to think by asking really great questions. We structure everything around questions now, actually. So when we're designing anything, it's about what are the questions we want to answer by doing this. And we pose those questions because the mind works better in the presence of a question. So said Nancy Klein. So say I now. I can't help myself but say that quote. So we pose the question, we shut up, we let people think, and we stay genuinely interested and give amazing attention. And that's available to everyone. Anyone can be uber curious and interested in the thinking of what the other person's going to think, you know, and where they're going to go with their thinking. And I think what we do is we've got into this habit of assuming we know where someone's thinking is going to go. So we go there first and don't give them a chance to finish, which is like, I don't know, making a Mary Berry cake and then not putting it in the oven to see what the results are. You know, just mixing it all together and going, I've had enough now, we're not going to bother cooking that. So you have to get to the end of their thinking. And so ease is a big part. But Kate, what else do you notice?
So I think do you know what, when you're looking at the transcripts of when Bev and I talk, you have to just think about a million times to make it make sense. One of the things that has been hugely useful is the thinking environment as well. So Bev was talking about some of her kind of qualifications in that, and just that sort of very gentle structure that allows everyone to know exactly when their time will be. So it gives everybody the confidence that I'm going to have my turn, so it frees people up to listen. So I think from a group environment, that's really important. It was making me laugh as I was listening to Bev, because the thing that I've had to get really good at online is being still and not fidgeting, because I'm quite often all over the place. And so I have to really sort of think, right, okay, how am I going to help that other person think, particularly in an online environment, is for me to be as least distracting as I can be. So being still is a thing that I've tried to do. And you get some people, don't you, that they turn off their camera so it goes blank. Mm-hmm. But my thought on that always is, it's like kind of if you went into a normal meeting and you had 3 people with a box on their head. You know what I mean? I want to see that person.
I don't want to actually be in those meetings. That would be horrible.
I do. I'm, you know, if I ever get in a room with some people in a meeting, I'm going to wear a box just for the sheer crack of it. Exactly. So you do, you know, you need that person to hold the space for you. So getting good at holding the space and allowing people to kind of think out loud and then think, oh, actually, I've got some more thinking and I want to share it because that person seems dead excited and interested in what I'm saying. So yeah, so some of that.
I think I'm so conscious of saying think now. I'm just, they've got me, people. They've got me think. I love the thought of allowing people to get to the end of their thinking. Because you're so right. We jump in, and even as coaches, you know, we've kind of got a notion and a shape of the conversation, and there's just an elegance to how you guys do it. It feels like, I said, you guys are made for this time. I genuinely mean that. It feels like, and you don't have to answer this with anything that, you know, with giving everything away. It feels like there's a bit of a revolution and evolution happening within clear thinking. You know, there just feels like there's a you're excited about the future. It feels like there could be more possibilities for you both kind of going forward. Just saying. I mean, if you want to say anything about it, it's totally fine. You don't have to.
I think we've got really clear, Kirsty. So we've become much more focused over the last 12 weeks on what we think makes the biggest difference. Yeah. And we've been hugely encouraged by the people around us, and, you know, people like you. We have been hugely encouraged by the things that you've said to us and others as well. And I think it's made us realise, just get more clear. Clear thinking. What a great name for a business.
Trademark it. I'll write it down in case any of us forget.
Yeah, don't forget that one.
Thinking. No, it's good.
And yeah, it's so. We've got clear. We've got more clarity and more intention, and it's because in the very beginning, when lockdown happened, all the risk was taken away. So, you know, when you weigh things up, we could do that, but, you know, let's do this over here because this is safe and that's what we know. And when lockdown happened and everything changed in terms of what we were working on, because we weren't working on anything at that point because it all got taken away. But that was that risk. It de-risked everything for us, and it's made it so much easier just from a mindset point of view. So what do you think, Kate?
All that, absolutely. I think the other thing it's allowed us to do, as with probably everybody else in the country and the world, is take that pause to say, how do we want this to play out next? So we perhaps wrestled a little bit of control back and said, do you know what, actually, we really like spending lots of time with our families here, and we we think that perhaps spending a lot of time in a train or a plane or whatever perhaps doesn't feel so appealing. But you almost have to stop to be able to realise some of that. And then suddenly with online, it opens up a whole myriad of other people to work with as well. So I think our thinking has been amplified hugely in terms of the possibility out there as well, which makes it exciting. And we've done some stuff we'd love to repeat. There's nothing to, we absolutely love the stuff that we do, and this online experience. And I have to say, I probably was one of those skeptics at the beginning who went, nah, in a room is so much better than online. I've totally changed my mind about that. I think for some people, and perhaps for me, it's sometimes an even more intense and creative experience. So I'm really happy to say I thought that I was probably wrong. I like this instead.
Yeah, and we've seen people that have been on, let's say they've been on workshops with us face to face, even though this is face to face. I still can't quite work out the dualism. It's like real life, virtual life. This is real life. So face to face and then virtual. And actually, some people have said they enjoyed it more virtual. Because they felt more connected, even though they weren't physically with people. There was a space for reflection, space for genuine conversation. There's just something quite delightful when you get Star Trekked into another breakout room and you're just, I've got no idea. Oh, hi. And it's just, you're kind of, and it does cause you to be more engaged, and it does cause you to think, oh, who am I going to get to speak to next? And so there's opportunity. Honestly, it's just ridiculous. When you go on after this, just go back to all the people that have said you're brilliant, because that's effectively what we have this morning. And you know what? I agree with every single comment from every single person. Thank you both. And I know that 8 o'clock on a Monday morning for anyone is horrific, but for those that have children is horrific plus times 10 to the infinity. So my appreciation is massive. It's always a joy to speak to both of you. You're just brilliant. You are awesome humans, and I'm delighted that more people can get access to you guys. Now, I'm going to plug it. Buy these; they're awesome. The guys are sort of these are available for sale through. They'll probably have a website called Clear Thinking pretty soon. I mean, to be honest, these guys just work really quickly, so it'll probably be there. Genuinely, as a coach, as a facilitator, I've found them. All my brilliant contacts have got like just awesome cards and things like this that are working and creating something. And thanks for being here. You are just brilliant. Apparently, it's July this week.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. There is another month. And for everyone else, just so that you know, we have the wonderful Professor Damien Hughes, who's going to join us next week. And so there's quite a dark image, actually. I'm sitting, like, the image that I've put up just now is me drinking coffee, and he's just like darkly standing at the side, looking smouldering, I think, Damien, I think is what we'll say, smouldering. So we've got a smorgasbord of superstars that are going to be coming on to LinkedIn Live over the next 4 or 5 weeks, and we start with Damien. So any questions for him, let us know. And a word from your sponsor, which actually is me. We've got a couple of things. My book that these guys made me write is actually out on Amazon, so it's arriving now. I have it being shipped to me by the Amazon today. So even though you got a freebie, you might want the smell of a book. So I'm just saying. Also, Home Online Coaching Retreat starts on the 14th of July, and there's still some spaces. And also, Jim McNeish and I, for our podcast, are doing another little experiment on the 6th of July where we want to get people involved. So have a look at my LinkedIn for that. You guys are wonderful. I think this is a delicious way to start any week. Go forth and be brilliant. Maybe see you soon. Keep in touch. And to everyone out there, have beautiful weeks. Have a beautiful July. It's going to be, I have got a good feeling in my waters. It's going to be a super, super week. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Go forth and have a lovely Monday.